guys to Legal Wars Live. I go by the name of that boy, the Ghost Rider. You hear me? This episode, man, I be losing count. I'm almost sure it's like episode number 87 or 88. All I know is the episodes for the Tax the Rich tour will be coming to an end at episode number 100. So it's my goal, it's my aim that we start on May the 1st and we're going to carry all the way through the end of July, July 31st. That's 90 days or so. Might be 91, 92, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But we assume every month 30 days. You know what I'm saying? A couple of them months might have 31 days. You know what I'm saying? But 6 days a week, man, Monday through Friday, I've been bringing content. And I only do this when I do a tour. You know what I'm saying? 100 live streams. Try to do 100 short stories. It might take me a little longer to get up 100 shorts. You know what I'm saying? Might be a full 100 days. And then I do 10 vlogs. That being said, I always do that. I call myself Tax the Rich. I'm sorry, man. The We the People tour, that's how this all started, how I'm in New York right now on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You know what I'm saying? All my NYC, my New Yorkers, what's up, baby? It's Big Ghost Rider. But yeah, man, so the Tax the Rich tour, you know what I'm saying? Vlog number 9 out of 10 is going to come out today at 9 a.m. Eastern time. You're going to probably be on a live stream with me, you know what I'm saying? Scheduled a live stream to start at 8:15, you know what I'm saying? Or 8 a.m., you know what I'm saying? But we got started early. We get started early. In my mind, I'm thinking if I start early, then the people who would usually are expected to come on at 8 a.m., you know what I'm saying? If I start early, then hey, you know what I'm saying? Y'all come on in when the regular start time start. But we gonna go ahead and get pushing in the content, man. If you guys have not liked the video, I do ask that y'all double tap the screen for Ghost Rider, man. It's free to show love, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and make sure y'all hit that notification bell. What's up, OG? OG. Listen, just like my boy OG, man, y'all jump down in the comment section, man. Republicans, independents, and Democrats, man. Y'all let y'all voices be heard. You know what I'm saying? Because we going to talk about the Iran war, but that's probably going to be in hour number 2. You know what I'm saying? Or possibly 3. How we going to start off? We're going to start off talking about how do we make America great again? How, guys, do we make America great again? If you think about the general idea and the general purpose, is America great today? OG, would you say America's great today? I would say America's great. But the concept of what President Trump is saying would make America great again. He's saying we have problems in America, and that's factual. We do have problems. We do have issues in America, and making America great again is how we fix those issues. I always think in my mind sometimes, why didn't the American people care about the Epstein files being released when President Biden was president? You know what I'm saying? It just didn't make no sense to me. Can somebody jump down in the comments and explain that to me this morning? Why do all of a sudden, all of the people who care about the Epstein files, and I am not for any children getting abused, but why all of a sudden everyone cares when President Trump is elected about the Epstein files? When President Biden was ain't nobody even talking about why he didn't listen. This is what I'm saying. It's that energy President Trump came with, like he finna fix these problems. I know some Democrats, y'all might not be like, and the Republicans, y'all in the background like, yeah, goes blacks for Trump. But I'm just being honest with you. What does make America great again mean to you? That's what President Trump, just the idea. Listen, I heard Bernie Sanders say this. So for all of y'all bleeding heart Democrats, I'm talking about a man who pretty much saved your party. Don't forget that, Democrats, that it was progressives who saved your party. Why are you trying to kick them out your party right now? We'll talk about that on Monday. But look, this is what I'm saying. I heard Bernie Sanders say the thing about President Trump is he pointed out a problem that the Democrats didn't want to admit. The Democrats are saying America's great. We don't have to fix America. And I brought that up about the Epstein files because the American people, it's what President Trump, make America great again. So he's going around, he gonna fix everything. They looking at President Trump like he's the fixer. Y'all don't get that? Hey, President Trump, the government been lying to us about JFK's murder for all these years. President Trump, you gonna release the files? He said, I'm gonna release the files. I'm saying y'all hear him talking about trade deficits with China. Y'all hear him talking about the national debt. He came in with Doge. Y'all hear him talking about all the illegal immigrants let into America. He's highlighting issues. Y'all hear him talk about all the American leaders on the Epstein list. They asked President Trump before he became president, are you gonna release the Epstein files? And he said, yes. They looking at President Trump like he finna come in here and fix everything. He's the fixer. I'm saying depending and counting on him, not only to fix American problems, because I think he tried to fix the national debt and seen that it was harder than what he thought, red tape, bureaucracy, he might have washed his hands with that. You see what I'm saying? Not only trying to fix America problems, looking to fix problems worldwide. That's why America's in Iran right now. That's why he talking about going to Cuba right now. That's why he went to Venezuela right now. What does make America great mean? And how do you make America great? I said all that, guys, the first 5-6 minutes or so, the introduction, and giving you guys this information to let you guys know, in my opinion, the first way you make America great again is by fixing the tax code. First way. Very first way. That's the first thing you do. When I tell people this, they say, hey, Ghost, it's going to take way more than that, and I know that. Guys, on Monday, we're going to talk about the Democratic Socialists. And the Democratic Socialists said we need a whole new constitution. How many people think we need a brand new constitution in the United States? Y'all get down in the comments. Let me know. Let's talk about it. I could see that happening. It sounds kind of wild. It sounds kind of preposterous, but it's very popular amongst young people. I could see it happen. The Democratic Socialists said we're not going to change America like the Republicans saying we are. And we're going to do it by taking over with a strong man. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to make America more of a democracy. First and foremost, we're going to get rid of the Senate. What we need the Senate for? That's what the Democratic Socialists saying. That's not what Ghost saying. Democratic Socialists saying what we need the Senate for. We're going to get rid of this U.S. Senate. They're going to get rid of the U.S. presidency. They're going to get rid of the U.S. Supreme Court. Wipe them out. First steps. How many of y'all agree with that? A brand new constitution. We talking about this on Monday. The Democratic Socialists say a brand new constitution. Get rid of the Senate. Get rid of the presidency. Get rid of the Supreme Court. Expand Congress. Make Congress a lot bigger. So Congress, the U.S. Congress, the U.S. House of Representatives, according to the Democratic Socialists, should be the main power and the main force in America. Representative government. You'll have an executive, but he'll be subordinate to Congress. And you'll have a court, but they'll be subordinate to Congress. What you guys think about that? I'm saying a brand new, this is what listen, whether you agree with that or you say it's too extreme or it's too far or it's too quick, we need to wait for the development of artificial intelligence. Because that's what I would tell the Democratic Socialists. Don't run AOC on a separate ticket because you're going to split the Democratic vote. And you're going to guarantee the Republicans going to get the presidency again. Do like y'all been doing. Do like Mandami did. It's been successful. Y'all challenge the Democrats and run against Democrats. So AOC needs to run for a Democratic nomination. No Democratic Socialists don't need to put nobody up there. I don't think America is quite ready. I think America needs to wait for the development of artificial intelligence to see how the world changed before you change your constitution. That's just what I think. But I'm saying the American people are fond of the idea that a Republican is not going to fix this and a Democrat is not going to fix this. It can't be fixed. Just rewrite the whole thing. start over from scratch. Might be too quick for that. But what Ghost trying to tell y'all this morning with that revised America tax plan, the very first thing America needs to do, the Epstein files isn't our biggest problem or our biggest issue. Our national debt, in my opinion, and those trade deficits, in my opinion, are our biggest problems and our biggest issues. That $39 trillion debt and growing is going to end up crippling and devaluing the US dollar. And when it does that, we're going to see that Chinese yen. We're going to see another country on the world stage take power. And that's facts. That $39 trillion debt, in my opinion, is the biggest problem we got. President Trump didn't say it was the biggest, but he attempted to address it. And that's facts. He started out with Doge, with Elon. At least he made an effort. At least he was addressing it. We're going to talk about that different. But the biggest problem, in my opinion, is that debt. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. And this is what I'm going to ask you. And this is why I'm telling you the first problem we need to fix in America. This is what I'm going to say. So listen, one of you guys in the stream down in the chat, you married and you got a wife, right? And you got some children. And your wife come to you and she said, hey, baby, I was looking at our bills and I see we paying more on the interest. I'm not talking about we paying on the bill, just the interest alone. We paying more on the interest on our credit card debt than we are on our rent, than we are on our car notes, than we are on our insurance, than we are on anything else. We are paying more money on the interest of national debt than we do national defense, than we do Social Security, than we do TANF or any other entitlement program. Do you understand that? That problem is that debt. It's that national debt. So what I'm saying is your wife is coming to you and y'all looking at the finances, okay? That's where we start. I'm saying your problem, if you got a problem in your household, in your nation, in your church, anywhere else, if you got a problem, I'm saying the first problem, the biggest problem, the most important problem running the corporation of the United States of America is the money. When you go to attack a man, when America goes to confront these nations, what the first thing they do? Attack their money. So if your money messed up, you know, and if you paying more on the interest of your debt than you are actually on your bills, you know it's a problem. So that's the first thing we need to address. President Trump, that seemed like the first thing he addressed. I got to be fair. When he first came in, he had Doge, Elon, chainsaw, stage, national debt. We got to cut it. You see what I'm saying? But here's the problem. Y'all ready for this big ghostwriter cooking this morning? It's the revised America. How do you make America great again? Here's the problem, President Trump. You could never make America great again, or I could never solve a debt problem by collecting less money. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back, the slow people. I could never solve a debt problem that I have. Y'all remember that? I have a debt problem. Baby girl came to me and said, hey, baby, we spending more money on the interest of our credit card than we are our rent. We got a debt problem. How do I respond to that? Hey, baby, I'm going to take less hours at work. I'm going to cut my hours at work. Listen to me. I'm going to cut my hours at work. I'm going to cut taxes. When you cut taxes, America's main source, the United States, the federal government's main source of revenue is the collection of income taxes. You have a $39 trillion debt. At what point does it make sense to cut taxes at all? At what point does it make sense to collect less revenue? I mean, I have to talk to President Trump this morning because he has to hear me on this. And I'm not schooling or teaching that businessman billionaire anything because he is aware of this. Because when he came in the White House, the moves he made, the billionaire business president, I'ma fix the debt. Isn't that what he did or tried to do? But his next moves were how he messed up, bruh. I'ma cut revenue. But in his mind, he thought he was gonna collect tariffs. He is collecting tariffs. He did collect a whole lot of money in tariffs. In his mind, he was gonna replace that revenue that he's losing in cutting taxes. He's gonna replace that with something. With something. You have to. If you don't, you lose the money. Do you understand, like, that Republican plan of giving tax breaks, really, and the way they talking about it, they can't do it for anybody, but don't go nowhere, because Ghost gonna tell you how to do it. But I just want y'all to get to where I'm at, and you have to get this understanding, because the American people don't understand. When you cut taxes, that's the same thing as you having a debt problem, and you going to your wife and you saying, baby, I'ma work less hours at work. You cutting your own throat. But President Trump, he knows this. He realizes this. And that's how y'all know I know what I'm talking about. Because he said a lot of times, first of all, he brags about the trillions of dollars in investments into the United States that he has secured. That's the very first thing. He said no other president has secured this much money as investments into the U.S. economy, U.S. government. And then he tried the tariffs. The tariffs, they ain't work out as well. They ain't work out so much. They ain't work out as good. And the results of those tax breaks is President Trump, in his first term, he spent $8 trillion. He didn't spend $8 trillion, I'm sorry. He added $8 trillion to the national debt in his first term. That's the most by any president added to the national debt in 4 years. The most ever. And it's almost more than Barack Obama. President Trump currently, president, less than 6 years, has added more money to the U.S. debt than Barack Obama. More money. It amazes a lot of people, but they don't understand how this works. You think in a Republican, they come in and they say, we're going to cut fraud, waste, and abuse. The Republican President Trump's administration, they love the word fraud. But it's not a word that's adored by the American people. But you're going to cut fraud, waste, and abuse. I don't have a problem. I didn't sue businesses for fraud before. I don't have a problem with going after fraud, waste, and abuse. I don't have a problem with you attempting to cut the bureaucracy and the spending on but I'm saying the way he did it. But I don't have a problem with him recognizing the issue. But where he went wrong is those tax cuts. That does not make sense. Where President Trump went wrong is those tax cuts. It doesn't make sense to collect less revenue, especially if you got a debt problem. See, a lot of politicians, they'll point out a problem, but they don't really never give you a solution. Ghost finna give you a solution to this problem. Because America has a litany and a host of problems. But our biggest problem, or the problem that we should solve or handle first, in my opinion, politically, is getting at that national debt. Like I said, the progressives saying they want to revamp the system. What I'm saying, Brad, this morning, is how we get at that national debt is you got to revise that tax code. That's the first problem we have, is revising that tax code. And I don't mean revising the tax code based off of President Trump's tax cuts, you know, a lot of Democrats, the Democratic Party, they gonna come in and just say we gonna roll back President Trump's tax breaks. That sounds better. You know what I'm saying? Roll back President Trump's tax breaks. It sounds better than you raising taxes. But what I'm saying is in the Revive America plan, the only people who we raise taxes is the people who should be able to afford to pay it. And we finna talk about that right now. I'm gonna tell y'all how we need to do this. If you guys have not liked the video, I ask that y'all double tap the screen for me, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell, guys. At the end of July, we gonna be finished with the Tax the Rich tour. I don't know if we still gonna be in Manhattan. I believe we are, but we gonna be in New York, New England, New York City, all of the above, you know what I'm saying? But right now, today, bro, we out here in Manhattan, man. I'm trying to promote them channel memberships, y'all. I hadn't got a channel membership purchase in a few days. We've been getting a few donations. Best way to donate to the channel, you could check out all the exclusive content. Hit that button with the $ in it to purchase those channel memberships for $2.99. Guys, I want to say also, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, I welcome all you guys to join Brad down below in the comment section. Y'all discuss amongst yourselves. Y'all let y'all voice be heard. Revive America. How do you make America great again? This is how you do it, President Trump. First things first, when I come in, I'm going to change that tax code. I got a Republican majority in the House, Senate, Supreme Court. I'm writing executive orders. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to change that tax code, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. I didn't just give you guys a problem. I'm finna give you guys a solution to that problem. Here's your solution, okay? You got a $39 trillion debt. So we go back to the wife, and the wife coming in, and the wife done told us about the bills and the debt and the credit card. What I tell my wife is, this is what we gonna do. We gonna work more hours. Yeah, I'm gonna work more hours. I'm not gonna work less hours. I'm not gonna cut taxes. I'm gonna increase the revenue. I'm gonna collect more revenue. First things first, how we change this, how we do this, is we need to raise taxes on the rich. We need to raise taxes on the rich, and the poorest people in America don't need to pay no taxes. Instant stimulus. What? This boy talking crazy. What you talking about, Ghost? Let me give you some numbers. In 2024, according to Forbes magazine, 813 people were worth $7+ trillion. 813 people worth $7 trillion. Listen to me. Get the wax out your ears. You understand how much money $7 trillion is? In that same year, 2024, the United States only collected $5 trillion, a little over $5 trillion in taxes. The federal government. State and local governments collected $2-some trillion in taxes. I'm talking about the federal government only collected $5-some trillion in taxes in 2024. And that's the vast majority of their revenue. But yet and still you have 813 people worth $7 trillion. 830, America, 340 million people, all 50 states, Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, North Dakota, states y'all don't even think about. Little Rhode Island up here, y'all don't even think about. You know what I'm saying? Delaware. Whoever think about Delaware, whoever say I'm going to Delaware, I'm talking about 813 people in a big country of 340 million. And they got 7 trillion, which is more money than the United States collects a year. So you got a small group of people, very small in this vast country. Don't get confused how many people 813 people are. They probably all got each other's phone numbers. You don't think? You don't think that billionaires in America are connected? Come on, man. You got to be crazy. You don't think Elon and Jeff Bezos, I know they don't really too much get along. You don't think that's why they don't get along, because they didn't talk. They still probably do at time to time talk behind closed doors, especially when their businesses cross over. 813 people, a small clan, a small organization. You guys we always hear people say the Rothschilds. We hear Bernie Sanders say the Koch brothers. But I'm saying it's way more. It's 813 people who own the wealth in America. Not 8,000, not 80,000, 813. And the wealth that they have amassed has been the greatest amount of wealth in American history. You got to think Elon got one of them trillion by himself. 813 people got more money than the U.S. government. So when you get a Republican who come in the office, guess what? You still got these 813 people with more money and more influence than the whole freaking federal government. So guess what's going to happen? Whatever interest the 813 people won't serve. So when you get a Democrat who come in the office, guess what's going to happen? They're going to serve the interests of the 813. We need to call it the 813. That's what I should have called the live stream. Waking America up to the 813. I don't even know if the Democratic Socialist problem will be solved with a new constitution and expanding Congress, getting rid of the Supreme Court and the presidency, and making the Senate, abolish them and ICE completely, and making them subordinate to the U.S. Congress, a bigger U.S. Congress. I don't know if that's going to fix the problem, as long as you got the 813 who got more money than the federal government. Because all they going to do is, when you change the system, you got to understand how much a trillion is. Elon could do what he want, literally. You don't believe me? That man could go down to South Texas and say, hey, I'm going to make a whole city. And the whole city, all they going to be is my workers and my people. You don't believe me? He already did it. He could do what he want to. That's how much money he got. So I'm saying, even if you change the Constitution, that 813, they're going to just revamp, and they're going to be buying those Congress people in his back pocket. What that is, Ghost, what you got back there? Oh, that's Congressman so-and-so. Congressman so-and-so, he over here in rich man Rothschild's back pocket. He back there, and I hate to do this, y'all forgive me, Ivanka Trump and Don Trump's back pocket. Congressman so-and-so, you know them Trumps, they up there now. They pushing 10 billion. Yeah, that's some weight, boy. We take a whole billion over here, and we could just, listen, in each presidential election, the only thing spent is 1 billion. Right? I want to let you understand what I'm talking about. All that spent is 1 billion. I want you to understand, Elon worth $1 trillion. You got 1 billion to get to 100 billion. He got 1,000 1 billions. Elon got, 1,100 1 billions. 1,100. Just like you had $1,100, $1 billion is $1 to Elon. $1. That's the whole presidential election. You got 813 people. Imagine if they organized on the left or the right, split them up. You got Larry Ellison. I always hear them talking about on the left, Larry Ellison. He the hit man. He the one with the bread, the pockets, funding the Democratic Party. But regardless, you got 813 people controlling the whole system. And what does President Trump come in there and do? Speaker Johnson, you got to rock with me, baby. Because I like you personally, but I'm trying to, this is something different. This is revising America. This is making America great again. This is how you do it. The first thing you're doing is you got to address your money. You got a big money problem. If America didn't have a $39 trillion debt, then we wouldn't be under no threat of at any time 250 more years of greatness. But that $39 trillion debt is scary. all your leaders being on the Epstein file is scary. See, this helps that too, because everybody on the Epstein file are billionaires. Listen, if you go into a homeless shelter and you got 23 homeless people in there, and that's the only people in the room, I guarantee you ain't no corruption in that room. You right or wrong? What a homeless man gonna corrupt? But if you go in that same homeless shelter and you got 23 billionaires in that homeless shelter, that room full of corruption. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The problem is the billionaires, the 813, is too many of them. We got to change our tax code. These people, it cannot be that easy for you to make that much money and to wield that much power. Because in a capitalistic society, what that does is you're creating oligarchs. You're creating men who got more influence and power than the U.S. president. You think if somebody went to President Trump behind the scene with $16 billion, remember, if you had $1,100, that's $16 for Elon. If somebody go to President Trump with $16 billion and try to get him to do A, B, C, and D, you don't think it's going to get done? You think it's President Trump. If they went to President Obama, any man with $16 billion, that's the game they play. Politics is a money game. That's what I'm saying. You cannot make it that. Listen, I don't have a problem with no man making $1 million, because I'm finna give you my numbers. That 813, that's my whole argument. When I go to Illinois, when I go to Indiana, I did that on the We the People tour, by the way. That's why I always be saying that. That's how I started this last year and some days now, a year and some change, this journey I've been on. When I went to Michigan, Portage, Michigan, go back and check out the We the People tour under the playlist. I'm talking to the people. And the people who don't vote, they disengaged, or the people who still vote, 46% of Americans registered to vote 2024, they independents. The vast majority of the voters, independents, they don't want to be connected to either party. They won't change. We know that the American people won't change. They want something different. Epstein files, they thought President Trump was bringing it, make America great again. Yeah, that's why they didn't ask Joe Biden. They know President Biden was a regular old Democrat, regular old politics and usual. They knew he wasn't going to get nothing from him. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to ask President Trump, make America great again. They think he's fixing the problem. What happened to JFK, President Trump? What happened to Martin Luther King? Y'all feel that? All you got to do is ride with me. I'm going to explain it, break it down, make it as clear as I can. I'm going to take my time. Way you fix the problem, make America great again, you revamp that tax code. Because it's 813 people who going to control this system regardless of who you put in power. Y'all get it? Republican, Independent, Democrat. It's 813 people in America who got more money, influence, and power than any man you put in power. Any man you put in power is 813 million people. 800, excuse me, I keep saying million. 813 people. 813 people worth 7 trillion. How you do that? The first thing we need to do is charge 90% tax on $1 billion. Oh my goodness. This man then lost his mind. 90% tax on $1 billion. You know the first thing a Republican gonna say, they gonna leave America. Where you gonna go? You gonna go to Russia and make your billions? You gonna go to China? Which how you think Xi gonna just let you freely make billions of dollars in his country? Where you gonna go? That's what I'm saying. Where they gonna go? You talking about, they saying Mandami tax and they count, Fox News counting the millionaires who leave in the city. Who cares? You think if 11 or 14 or 20 Millionaires out of 123 billionaires. If you think 20 billionaires left, they still got 100 billionaires in the city. That's still too many. Mayor Mandami, you want to run them up? I'm telling your city gonna be beautiful. It's still gonna run just as fun. 90% tax on $1 billion. Oh, they create all the wealth, Ghost. Oh, they do. So I'm saying Elon got $1 trillion, $1.1 trillion, and we give him a 90% tax on $1 billion. He gonna stop creating wealth? Oh, hold on a second, y'all. They didn't adopt Ghost Rider's tax plan. So, I got Starlink, I got X, I got Tesla. I'm over here making these humanoids, gonna be my biggest company. I'm over here innovating in America, and they trying to take 900 million off of $1 billion that I make. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna close all my businesses down, and I'm gonna stop innovating. I'm gonna stop making money. Hey, they charging $9. I'm gonna close my businesses down. He charging 90% on $1 billion. That's what you think Elon finna do. Jeff Bezos finna close Amazon down. When you raise his taxes, he gonna close Amazon down. That's what Jeff Bezos finna do. You know what I'm saying? Well, Larry Ellison, what he gonna do when you tax him higher? What he gonna do? He gonna close his businesses down. When you give him higher taxes, they gonna stop investing in that same stock market that they done made billions of dollars off the American people's backs on. You gonna tax them higher, they gonna do what? They gonna still create the wealth. When you raise their taxes, everything that happened before, they just gonna have to pay more money. That's all it is to it. That's all that's gonna happen. They gonna be crying, have to pay more money, ain't nobody care. If you a millionaire or a billionaire and you crying about the taxes, man, Mandami, it's plenty of people who crying about the taxes in New York City before Mayor Mandami got elected. Think about how many people from New York moved away from New York because they said the tax is too high. It ain't gonna change nothing in this city. This city gonna still be running and doing good just like it's doing right now. America gonna do better when that billionaire pay 90%. And if you make $1 million, I need 60% of it. Yeah. So if you make 10 million, I'm gonna need 6 million of it. U.S. government. Oh man, he raping us. Then make 20 million. Work harder. Make more. It's benefiting your government. Make more. Work harder. In the 50s, I would say that's probably our best economic times in U.S. history. Somebody research right now, y'all go to Google and y'all tell me how many billionaires we had in America in 1950s. Tell me what the tax rate was on $1 million in the 50s. And those are some of our best economic times. Probably those were our best economic times, the roaring 50s in American history. Yeah, pay higher taxes. First step, we gotta break up them 813 people. I know y'all might be worth 7 trillion, and I'm not talking about taking your 7 trillion from you. Them 813 people, they still gonna have the 7 trillion. But they not gonna be worth 8 trillion next year. Or they not gonna be worth 9 trillion 2 years from now. And they not gonna be worth, because I'm saying the rich people, their wealth is increasing greatly. That's how we thought Elon, he worth 800-something billion dollars. We thought he was gonna be a trillionaire next year. He dropped Starlink, turned into a public company, and just like that, President Trump, they increasing. It's that top percentage. Them 813 people, they getting super rich. He in that 813. President Trump is in that 813 people, the richest people in America, worth 7 trillion. And their wealth is increasing. You see President Trump only worth what, 4 or 5 billion before he became president? You see his wealth jumping. Yeah, you saw Elon's jumping. Jeff Bezos, check out his wealth. I guarantee you all of their wealth jumped. 813 get mega rich. You made $50,000 a year last year. What you get? If the man, I don't have a problem with it. He a businessman. He own businesses. If the man can make 2.2 billion in a year, what you got last year? If Elon's wealth could jump over $150 billion in a year, what you got last year? You get where I'm coming from? What'd you get last year? How'd your life improve? That's what I'm trying to tell you. 90% tax on billionaires, 60% tax on $1 million. You say, Ghost, that's not enough money, man. You talking about taking away taxes for people, single people who make $50,000 or less, or families who make $100,000 or less? Ghost, that's not enough money. You right. Let's look at the 1%. This is aligned with President Obama's tax plan. If you move away from those 813 people that we've been talking about that's worth more than the U.S. government, let's look at the rest of the 1%. $430,000 a year. You in the top 1% in the wealthiest country in America if you make $430,000 a year as a single person, and it's 630-some thousand as a family. That's the top 1%. So not only are you taxing them billions and them millions, if you make $430,000 a year as a single person, you got to pay higher taxes too. The whole top 1% pay higher taxes. Whole top 1%. If I have a debt problem, or if I'm trying to collect money, why am I going to the broke people to get money? You got to make that make sense. If you're trying to hustle something, you're trying to sell some donuts for your church, and I'm in New York City, and I could come to the Upper West Side of Manhattan and sell the donuts, or I could go to Jamaica, Queens to sell the donuts. Where you gonna go? Why would I go? I'm not saying people in Jamaica don't have money. Rent in Jamaica, Queens still $3,000 a month. It's a lot of people over there who making money. Most people over there probably living off of rent-controlled apartments and vouchers. But I'm saying it's a lot of people over there who make money as well. What I'm saying is, why you gonna go? I'm not hating or degrading. Why you gonna go when I could go to the Upper West Side? Where over here, the average income, don't quote me, but I'm sure it's triple figures or close to it. You got $12,000 apartments over here. These people got the money. I'm trying to collect money. I'm gonna go to where the money is to collect it. What the Republicans are saying is, we gonna get where all the people with the money, we gonna give them a tax break. Why you got debt? That don't make no sense. And you trying to collect the money from who? Because that's why your deficit, President Trump, is running in 2025. The federal government spent over $2 trillion. He is on pace to add $9 trillion to the U.S. debt in his first 4 years. $9 trillion. Meaning that the debt is going to be about $47 trillion by 2029. Exacerbating. Because you cannot give a tax break to the people who got money. That don't make no sense. That's the people to get the money from. What about the top 10%? The top 10% will pay lower taxes under the revised America tax plan. They wouldn't pay no taxes, but they'll pay a little bit lower than what they're paying right now. If you make $429,000 a year, it might not look that good for you, just because you make under the $430,000. But if you make the numbers gonna. We don't have time for me to be that specific. But what I'm trying to tell you is the numbers are gonna equal that $5 trillion that the United States is collecting every year in taxes, or it might exceed it. But what I'm saying is, I'm aggressively going at every $1 billion that is made in my country. I am aggressively going at every $1 million made in my country. That is not going to stop the people who have the wealth from continuing to get wealth, from continuing to create wealth, and continuing to innovate. They just gonna be taxed. You feel me? And the plan is from the top 1% all the way to those 813 people, you get, I'm talking about, that it's like they creating the wealth, but it's like the American government is getting all of it. We got to pay these taxes. And then when you go to the top 10%, down to the top 10%, you going from families that make $630,000 to $100,000 a year. That's a lot of people. You going from single individuals making $40,000 to $50,000 a year. They still gonna be paying taxes. It's gonna phase out. If you make $60,000 a year, you still pay taxes as a single person, but you're just gonna be paying a whole lot lower taxes. If you pay $300,000 a year as a single person, you're gonna be paying taxes. It's gonna be about at the same rate you were paying tax before under President Obama. So righteously, your taxes really gonna be raised. Well, I ain't gonna go by President Trump's tax rate. You know what I'm saying? It's a new tax. So listen, I don't want to confuse you and get like too in depth. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm gonna get to the point is the people making $50,000 a year or less. Why would you collect taxes from them? How many in this people in this live stream make $50,000 or less? And how many people in this live stream making $50,000 or less are on an entitlement program? If you're making $50,000 or less, you probably on an entitlement program, man. Y'all feel that? Why? It makes no sense. I'm gonna collect taxes from people that I'm spending the tax money on Social Security that I have to give the money right back to them. That don't make no sense. Why are you collecting taxes from some man who struggling to pay their bills? Look, Jeff Bezos said this and made me think about this. This woman makes $76,000 a year. Where's she from, Jeff Bezos? The Bronx or Queens. She got 2 kids. And she paying $1,000 a month in taxes. $1,000 a month. That's more money she paying in taxes every month than President Trump paid when he made $450 million with his businesses. She got 2 kids, and they taxing her $1,000 a month. $75,000 a year. She paying $12,000 a year in taxes. You know that woman gonna need some kind of subsidy from the government. Her rent alone, $3,000, $2,500, $3,000, it's $30,000 a year for rent in New York City. You take it $12,000 in taxes, she ain't got no money left. And she got 2 kids, so she gonna need food stamps. You get that? And I'm saying you taking taxes from people, hardworking people, to give it right back to those hardworking people in an entitlement program. It does not make sense. Listen, if I cut taxes on every worker who makes $50,000 a year, that's going to put, in most cases, at least $10,000 over the course of a year in their pockets instantly. If you got that woman who makes $76,000 a year, Jeff Bezos was talking about, this is a rich man who recognizes this, who got 2 kids. If I cut taxes for her and she ain't got to pay that $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 stimulus instantly in her pocket. I'm saying that makes her less likely to need an entitlement program. I'm not saying she's still not going to need an entitlement program. I'm not saying that's going to fix every problem. I'm not saying that's going to wipe I'm saying the very first thing I would do, is I would revise that tax code. I would make it much harder to be a billionaire. I think that's going to help you fight corruption. I think it's going to help you in way more ways than you think. I would make it harder to become a millionaire. I would make it easier for a hard-working American person to achieve the American dream. I would make it easier for that man making $40,000 a year who's struggling. I would make it easier for that man to be able to become a first-time homeowner. I would make it easier for the common folk. If you look at the top 10% of America, you talking about 35 million people. And you got 200 million people that are on the bottom. You want to cater to 35 million people, 10% that's on the top, and the 200 million on the bottom, let them fight and starve for crumbs. It don't make no sense. If you want to make America great again, if you want to fix America, the very first thing you got to do is revise that tax code. I didn't say it was the only thing you had to do. I said the very first thing we got to do is revise that tax code, tax the rich. 90% tax on a billion, 60% tax on a million. If you make $50,000 or less per year, you don't pay no taxes. If you make $100,000 or less per year with the family, you ain't got to pay no taxes. The people in the middle, you phase their taxes out down. That's plan number one. Revise America. Revamp that tax code. That's what the vlog's about. What time is it right now, y'all? It's 7:39. The vlog starts at 9 a.m. I went to Long Island, Long Beach, up here in New York, and that's what we talking about. Revising America. Change that tax code. People who make $50,000 or less per year, they shouldn't have to pay no taxes. None whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? I think America needs to do other things to collect revenue too. You know what I'm saying? But before I get into that, let me say this. I believe that in my tax plan, you got billionaires. They gonna be mad. And they got all the influence and they pouting and cussing and fussing. When the billionaire come to me and say he don't want to pay 90% on his billions, Ghost, I made $113 billion last year. You trying to tell me the government gonna take over $100 billion of that? You done lost your mind. You gonna leave me with $10 billion and I made over $100 billion. You crazy, Ghost. Listen, this how you get out of that. You got to create jobs. I can't give you no tax break unless it's incentivized. It has to be an incentive on it. It don't make no sense. And nothing else makes sense. I'm saying maybe Ronald Reagan tax cuts, it worked in the 80s. But I'm saying once we got to this, George Bush said no new taxes, he had to raise taxes. He was trying to keep that budget balance. He was trying to keep that debt down. You see what I'm saying? He lost his election. When Bill Clinton came, he raised. I'm saying after Bill Clinton raised tax, George Bush came back, raised the taxes. President Trump, Republican Party, Mike Johnson. If you're going to raise taxes, you got to do it with an incentive. Look, I mean, if you're going to cut taxes, I'll let you pay less taxes if you create 100,000 jobs and they maintain them jobs for 18 months. I cut your taxes if you create 250,000 jobs and they maintain them jobs for 365 days. I cut your taxes. But I'm saying you got to show me the money trickle down. I got to see the money trickle. When I cut your taxes, the money got to be trickling. I'm not going to cut nothing until I see the trickle. I'm not going to cut your taxes on a promise that you create the wealth. So you're going to go take that money and create more wealth. Elon does that. Elon, he going to have 100,000 businesses. He going to have 97 businesses. Yeah, Elon does that. But I'm saying I'm not going to cut your taxes on the promise that you're going to donate $5 billion in Tesla shares. Elon does that. Elon does that. Elon donate $5 billion. If his tax bill was $90 billion, or his tax bill is $90 billion, which I doubt it, not under this tax code. But under Ghost, if his tax bill is $90 billion, yeah, you got to come with it. I need to see 90, or if you got you got it, that money that you making, you cannot take that money and just sit it in your bank account and don't do what none. Not in a ghost America, not in a new America, not in an America where artificial intelligence and humanoid robots are going to start taking jobs very soon. They already are. If you go to a car factory, a lot of those robots are they gonna take all, and in China robots they gonna take all the manufacturing jobs. They already are. Robots are a large percent of the workforce in warehouses and manufacturing. If you don't believe me, I'm just giving you the information. Go Google what I say. Fact check me. Don't take my word for it. You see what I'm saying? Jeff Bezos has created a whole lot of jobs. You know what I'm saying? Jeff Bezos has created a lot of jobs. But I'm saying, what's that got to do with the price of tea in China? You need to pay more. Your tax rate needs to be higher. You don't need to tax people who make less than $50,000 a year. Those same people are getting it don't like you. Y'all's arguments. None of it makes sense. Jeff Bezos creates the wealth, so I'm going to give him a tax break. That's the stupidest thing I heard ever. He's still going to create the wealth whether he gets a tax break or not. So why collect less money from him because he creates the wealth? That's dumb. It's plain stupid. It makes no sense. It's like saying Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. It's malarkey. It's like saying Iran was finna get a nuclear bomb that could threaten America. It's BS. Facts. Because a man create the wealth, it's no excuse for him to pay less taxes. That's stupid. We need to revamp our tax code just like we did in the 50s when our America was great. You're not cutting off the $39 trillion debt by revising your tax code. We could talk about, if you come in with insults and your mind is like a little child, then I'm saying you stay with the status quo. This ain't for you. You can exit out of this stream. This ain't a Lindsey Graham stream. Rest in peace. This ain't the status quo. This ain't no status quo. Because your status quo ain't fixing America. It's making it worse. You add more to the deficit as we go, so you can exit out stage left. If you here to be entertained, you can exit with them off stage left. This ain't what this is. This is for the forward-thinking Americans who really want to change. We want real change to this system because this system is broken. People making $50,000 or less should not have to pay no taxes at all. Families making $100,000 or less should not have to pay no taxes at all. Period. We need to charge 90% on $1 billion, 60% on $1 million, and we need to raise taxes on the 1%. That was Obama's tax plan. Slowly phase the taxes out for the people who making down to $50,000 a year. Like not paying, they might pay less taxes. It might be $1,000 a year less. Even for the people who make $60,000 a year. But when you get about that $50,000, I want to raise the poverty rate to $50,000 under the tax code for a single person and take their taxes away. In some states, it might have to be, it might be based on the economy. You know what I'm saying? The poverty number in Mississippi, I think right now, like 26,000 for a single person. 26,000 or less in Mississippi, no taxes, no federal taxes. They still got to pay Social Security. If they want Social Security when they in their future. I'm almost in the opinion you should let a taxpayer opt to pay in the Social Security. They don't want to pay in the Social Security, they just don't get it in their future. It's other people who could plan for their retirement, 401 plans and everything that's doing really well, by the way, in the stock market. Revise America tax plan. What I said wrong. Brad says, Gorilla, you're right. I'm not arguing. that he has made jobs. However, they don't need all the loopholes they receive in taxes. They don't need none of those loopholes. That's why you revise that. Listen, if you going after $1 billion, 90% is we gon' everywhere you try to hide that money, we gonna find. Ain't no more putting no money in Switzerland. No money you make in America, I don't care if that money in Switzerland, you got to pay taxes on. You can't make no money in America and put that money somewhere overseas, and not every dollar you make in America. That's straight. You make $39,000. Well, I don't want no taxes from you. You ain't got no money. That's how I'm gonna collect my money. You made what I'm looking around. This dude made $39,000 a year, and he paying more taxes than the billionaire. You got to make that make sense. My job, the most money I get from revenue is collecting taxes. And I'm collecting more money from a dude who make $36,000 a year than I am from a dude who made $200 million. That is insane. That's why you got a $39 trillion debt. The dude who made $36,000 a year, the dude barely even making it. What is a government? Why am I trying to collect anything from him? I ain't thinking about that $36,000. Ain't nothing to me. He a peon, a peasant. I'm over here collecting taxes from the see, the problem is, it's a lot more people making $36,000 a year. So, you get more money. Because if you looking at, if I got 100 million people, not 100 million, say if I got 50 million people making $36,000 a year, it's a lot of money you could collect from them. Because it's a lot more people. But I'm saying the 7 trillion that was made by 813 people. 7 trillion. Under Ghostwriter's tax plan, 5 trillion of that would have went to the government. 5 trillion, not that much. That's only a year worth of money that you're going to collect in taxes. And that's what those men are worth over their entire lifetime. I understand the numbers. I understand them. And you telling me, Ghost, there's too many people who make $22,000 a year to not have them pay no taxes. And I'm telling you, you dead wrong. I'm telling you, you dead wrong. You dead wrong. I'm going to give you the policy plan, just like President Obama. And I'm going to go to the experts and let them write the policy. I'm not an expert on taxes. I'm not an expert on finance. Just like any politician, I would advise them. The first thing you do to fix America is to try to fix those finances. President Trump knew that. He understood that. He came in with all the right moves. Y'all want me to do the dance for y'all? It's just a thriller. He making all the right moves. He making the right moves. If the American, that debt's so bad, I'm saying we can lose the value of the dollar. We can. If that dollar isn't the supreme currency on the world stage, the United States wouldn't be either. And then you got the Chinese yen. I'm saying it's nowhere close to devaluation of the American dollar. I'm saying the Chinese are nowhere close, in my opinion, of being successful. And we fighting against that. But I'm saying, you add to your national debt, you are putting America in a dangerous place financially. And cutting taxes is not fixing the problem at all. I'm trying to tell y'all. Revise America, make America great again. I'm saying the first problem is giving the tax break to those billionaires. Because I'm saying on so many levels, those 813 people got that 7 trillion, they running the U.S. government. You think it's the president running the government. That's why you say we can't get no real change, Republican or Democrat. Those people with that money, you call their names. Some people say Larry Ellison. Some people say Elon. Some people say all the influence them rich people got here. The Rothschild, them 813 people, they running the U.S. government. That's facts. They got more money than the government. We don't need to let these people keep collecting all this money. So when I say you make 50,000, what's the poverty number for a single person in New York City? I know New York, it's got to be up there. Whatever that poverty number is, you don't have to pay taxes. It might not be 50,000 nationwide. Whatever your state's poverty number is. Like I said, in Texas, it's 26,000. It's less than that in Mississippi. I think in Mississippi, it might be 17, 18,000. Poverty number in Texas is 26,000. You make less than 26,000 in Texas under the Revised America plan, you don't have to pay no taxes. Why I'm gonna collect taxes from a man living in poverty? That don't make no sense. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to raise taxes on the rich and stop collecting taxes from people living in poverty. If you stop collecting taxes from the man living in poverty, you gonna help him. It's like you got a kid who want to move out the house and they saving their money. They trying to go somewhere. That man who made $24,000 a year, he might not have had the opportunities President Trump have. That'll let you borrow a small loan for $1 million. But I'm saying he trying to touch the sky too. $24,000 a year. You got a kid staying at your home, saving their money. Why would you charge them rent? They trying to move out. You trying to help them move out. You trying to help that man who made $24,000 a year make more money, get more money. So I'm saying it makes absolutely no sense, in my opinion, for you to charge him more taxes. Let the man breathe. Let him come up. A lot of foreign companies are coming. Get on Indeed and apply to manufacturing. It's playing good. That's a great thing. U.S. is 342,000. China is around 1 billion, but they're a real old generation. And India has 1.5 billion. Now China got more than 1 billion people. India had first of all, the U.S. is 342 million. You put 342,000. China has about 1.3, 1.4 billion people living in it, and India have 1.5 billion. India is the largest country in the United States. Facts. High rent, high taxes, high fuel costs, high education costs, now food. That's how the American people feel right now. Affordability problem. It's to America. It's to tell it to Americans. We talked about the people making $430,000 a year or more. Those people right there, they good. They happy. They celebrating. The top 10% on 90% of the wealth in the stock market. They doing great. Say it with me. Tony the Tiger, great. But what about those people making that poverty number in Texas, 26,000? How they doing? What about that man making that poverty number in Texas for a family, $50,000 a year? He got a family. How he doing? 2 little young kids. How they doing? Are they doing great? It's a lot of Americans struggling. President Trump got elected on an affordability crisis. And we got higher gas prices than we do when he was elected. We got higher inflation now than we do when he was elected. Facts. Who chose to go to war with Iran? If Iran had a nuclear weapon, see, that's what happens when you argue against me. Because I'm a thinker. I'm not going to give you a baseline on that argument you at. I'm going to go to a deeper and greater argument than you at and show you how you wrong at a deeper level. Let's give Iran a nuclear weapon. President Trump saying, oh, they're about to get it. Let's give them a nuclear weapon. Good morning, WTF over. Good morning, my brother. Let's give Iran a nuclear weapon. If Iran had a nuclear weapon, it still can't reach the United States. United States wasn't under threat. That's what the CIA said. That's what American intelligence said. United States was under no threat from Iran, and they weren't finna get a nuclear weapon. So my point is, that was a war choice. I don't want to hear what you say. Your gas prices is higher, your inflation is higher. You can't blame this on COVID. This ain't no COVID. Because if this was a national disaster, where our stimulus at? Why wouldn't he give us a stimulus right now? Because that's going to help his cause. So this is high gas prices of your choice, inflation higher. Than President Biden or VP Harris didn't get elected because of inflation, and inflation is higher since you've been president for almost 2 years. And to add insult on injury, you fighting an unpopular war in that same unpopular place that the Republicans before you fought that unpopular war in. You got to make it make sense. WTF over says in the 4 states that disclose SNAP data, Amazon has 9,330 workers on SNAP. How does that make sense? That is amazing, WTF. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for that data, and thank you for that information. Amazon, in just them 4 states that's disclosing the data, got nearly 10,000 workers on food stamps. That says everything I need to know. Those workers at Amazon are like modern day slaves. That's what it is. WTF. Those workers it's corporate slavery. You out there working, getting $15 an hour. That girl got kids. She's struggling. She getting food stamps, and you taxing her more than you are the man she working for, making billions. It don't make no sense. You taxing the workers at the plant more than you are the man at the top, and he making billions. You trying to give him no taxes and tax his workers who out there working hard and struggling. That don't make sense. You know it don't. The American people gonna come with what I'm saying. The majority. Because you might have 30 million. I got 140 million. I got 140 million people, voters with me that feeling what I'm talking about. You got 30 million with you, 40 million. Your politician, the way you win is by telling the American people you finna help them and do something. You finna give them something. They thought President Trump was finna give them something. Why you think he got all the Hispanics? 42 to 48% of Hispanics. That's a key voting block for the Democrats. 40 million people. Voters, potentially. How many? 36 million? I think 36 million potential vote. You might have had 16, 17, 18 million voted. And President Trump getting nearly 10 million of Hispanic voters. He won by 3 million votes. Those Democrats, those your people, how he do it? They thought he was finna give them a COVID check again, a COVID stimulus. They thought he was finna give them some money. They thought they were finna have $2 gas prices. And remember President Trump, that first time during COVID, he wasn't taking no taxes out your check. That's what I'm talking about. I was working at Walmart, distribution center. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money. Yeah, you make about 26, 27 hours with incentives and the bonuses. It sounds like a lot of money, don't it? In your pocket. What you putting in your pocket, over $1,000 a week. Sound like a whole lot of money. But I'm saying, like, I got an apartment and I'm driving a 9-year-old Acura? Yeah, I could eat what I want to. Spending $40 at lunch for lunch. I'm saying my food costs 20-something. I'm gonna give her a $20 tip. Eat what I want, drive where I want, go where I want. Just taking vacations to Tennessee, buying clothes. walking around with 5, 6 thousand in the bank, like 1,200 in my pocket, sending my mama $500, $600 for no reason, going out there feeding homeless people, just going around giving, just walking up to homeless people, giving them $10. I'll take $100, $200 and just give every homeless person I've seen $5 or $10 till the money ran out. That's what I was doing when I was making the money. Yeah, I had extra money in Louisiana. I was doing good making that $50,000, $60,000 a year during COVID. But I'm saying it helps people. And that tax break, I'm a single man in Louisiana. What about the man making that same money in New York City or in Connecticut or in California or in Illinois, where the economies are different? The cost of living is higher. That's what I'm saying. Those people are not doing as well. In the situation I'm in, why don't you I should have to pay the less amount of taxes as possible. Of course, at that time, I'm making 2 or 3 times Louisiana poverty line. Well, about 4 or 5 times Louisiana poverty line. Somebody like that single, you got to tax them. I'm talking about the people at the poverty line, 17,000. Those people right there, you don't pay. They shouldn't pay no taxes. Working at McDonald's, bro. Come on, man. $17,000 a year, that's the poverty line. They shouldn't pay no taxes. If I'm out there making $60,000 a year, as a single man, I'm telling y'all what I was doing. Ask my mom, ask my family. I'll take $200 and just pass it out to homeless people. $10, $5 or $10 a piece. You can't give them too much now. They're going to take the money and get drunk. I'm just trying to get them to get some food. I don't feel like going to buy food or make plates and passing them out. I don't have time. I'm not a charity organization. I'm going to just give them money. Hope they don't go buy no drinks. Hope they are no K3 or K2, whatever it is, these crazy drugs, fentanyl they doing these days. You see what I'm saying? Giving money to my mama. Single man, no children. Could afford to pay easily. The rent I was paying at that time, about $1,100 a month. And I still had thousands in the bank. Yeah, you shouldn't pay no taxes. If I stay on that job for 10 years, I'm going to buy 2, 3 houses. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying from my experiences, the poverty, whatever the poverty number is in your state, them people under the Revised America plan shouldn't have to pay no taxes. Whatever the poverty number is in your state. I quoted 50,000 and 100,000 for families. What I'm trying to say is whatever the poverty number is in your state shouldn't have to pay no taxes. The very bottom don't collect nothing from. The very top, tax them 10 times over. Tax the rich. That's how we do that. Tell me how I'm wrong. That's the first way. That's not WTF how we fixing all our problems. That's the first way we do it. Y'all understand that? That's not how we gonna fix them all. That's where we gonna start at. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
How are y'all doing?
Good, thanks, you.
You're welcome. I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm sorry, y'all. I had to. It's some gorgeous. That was like, that's some gorgeous stuff, man. It brighten up your day. You can't help it. You feel me? I told y'all I'm a single man, bro, and I love observing the beauty of God's creation. But yeah, man, that's what I'm saying, man. It don't make no sense. Listen, I'm trying to tell you, and I'm going to say this one time again before I get in the comments. We could start talking about the Iran war or anything y'all want to talk about. If you got the American people listen, you're not feeling, if I'm that dude that's making $60,000 a year at the Walmart distribution center living in Robert, Louisiana, or excuse me, I think I was living in Mandeville or Covington. Any of y'all who y'all are in the stream, y'all remember Mandeville or Covington. And I was driving back and forth. That was like for 3 or 4 months. And then the other half of the time I was driving back and forth from Biloxi, Mississippi to Robert, Louisiana. But I'm saying I'm living in Mandeville or Covington, making $60,000 a year. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying you gotta put this in your mind. That in Louisiana, where your economy isn't that good. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying it don't make no sense in my mind for no person in poverty to be, you okay, poverty $16,000 a year. Y'all heard what WTF said. People working at Amazon, they getting food stamps. I'm saying that Jeff Bezos saying I'm paying them $15 an hour, Ghost. I'm saying that's 30, 40,000 people. How many people working at Amazon? I'm talking about hundreds of thousands. And they get food stamps. In 4 states, 10,000 of them. Imagine all 50 states. Probably 50, 60, 70,000 people working at Amazon. That don't make no sense. I'm taking taxes from you to give it right back to you, probably more. You get that? You taking taxes from them working at Amazon and they getting food stamps. You giving it right back to them. That don't make no sense. Them people struggling to make it. If they own the poverty line, you got to take their taxes away. That's a whole lot of money, Ghost. You talking about billions. You don't know how much money you talking, Ghost. You talking about hundreds of billions. You probably talking about $1 trillion. Exactly right. That's why I'm charging 90% on every billion you make. And that might not even be $1 trillion, but we gonna make them numbers even out to where you shouldn't be at Amazon getting food stamps paying taxes. If you at Amazon paying taxes, I'm imagining you paying about $10,000 or so a year. So if I let you keep that $10,000, you ain't gonna need no food stamps. How much you getting in food stamps? You ain't getting $10,000 a year in food stamps. You probably ain't getting 5,000. So I'm saying I could look. Can we make a deal? I'll stop taxing you. You get this 10,000. You shouldn't need no food stamps after that. Zero. And don't worry, we not losing the money nowhere, no entitlement programs, because at the very top, that's where I'm trying to get that money back from. You understand that? I know it has the balance. I know them numbers has the balance. I know I could get the experts to tax people to do this, but I'm saying I'm going to balance them numbers. At the very top, I'm going to take the money that you making $18,000 a year in the state of Mississippi. I promise you, all the people in Mississippi making $18,000 a year, I could get that money back. I promise you, from the top. It makes sense. And if I want to cut their food stamps, if you stop taxing someone making $18,000 a year, that'll be your bet. What have you done for those people who are on Social Security? What plan you got for them? What, you don't realize how many people it is. It's 16 million veterans in the United States. I'm one of them 16 million. 16 million veterans. I'm on disability. Supplemental income. What kind of tax plan you got for me? Any kind of economic plan you have for me? I can't work. What kind of plan you got for me? You know how many people in America who are of working age who cannot work and have a disability? Millions. It's almost an epidemic number. You just don't know about it. Research it. You thinking today. So what kind of economic plan do you have? What kind of life can a man who served his country, who's now disabled and cannot work on supplemental income, what kind of life can he live in America? Those people want a good life too. You don't understand. Them people got voices too. The man making $200,000 a year, he want to make $1 million. He want to be a billionaire too. I'm trying to make the whole's life better. You want to take 10% of America and you want to make their life better. You want to take 10% of America who already have a good life and make it even better. I want to take 90% of America and make their lives better. That 10% who already got a good life, I'm not going to do nothing to help you. I'm going to be real with you. You don't need the help. Jeff Bezos ain't going to get food stamps. Elon don't need the help. He don't need nothing from you. I promise you, Elon don't need nothing. He don't need any government services. Elon could go to a place where there's no roads and he can make his own highways. He got the money. Trust and believe he don't need no help. He could write almost any check that the U.S. government can write. If not any check worth $1 trillion. Elon don't have a $39 trillion debt. He a surplus of $1 trillion. U.S. have a $39 trillion debt. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He don't need no help. I want to help the 90%. I'm talking about people making $300,000 a year. I want to help them too. They want to be millionaires too, if they're not already. That's what I'm saying. I want to help the whole. The 10% at the top, they don't need no help. So if I don't help them, it's not gonna hurt Elon. That's why the majority of the rich people support the Democrats. My tax plan ain't gonna hurt him. He ain't gonna make as much money, but it's not gonna hurt him. It's not gonna hurt him. He's still gonna have all his jets. He's still gonna have all his houses. He's still gonna have all his cars. He's still gonna have everything, all his influence. He's just not gonna be getting as much money. And that person on the poverty line, I'm glad we talked about that. I'm glad, Brad, you in here. I'm WTF. I'm glad we talked about it because I could go ahead and revise that. People on the poverty number within your state won't pay no taxes. I'm in New York City, so I'm imagining that poverty number probably 40, 50,000. The poverty number in your state, whatever that is, you won't have to pay no taxes. Revise America, man. That's my tax plan. You guys haven't liked the video. This is the time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Jeremy's talking to Mr. Frost. He said those cities are thriving compared to red states. What Mr. Frost said. Where you at, Mr. Frost? He said, Jeremy, don't worry. Everything you have said, I expect to come from a Democratic. I don't see the Democrats having the coast. I see the Republicans do. Y'all want to make this a red-blue thing. I'm not making this a red-blue thing. All I'm going to tell is the Democratic Party, y'all Democrats, y'all don't need to split that party with the Democratic Socialists. Not right now. This isn't the time to split the party because y'all gonna let the Republicans beat y'all if y'all run a Democratic Socialist. How y'all need to do it is how Bernie Sanders is doing it. You need to take Mandami and let that style. He run as a Democrat against another Democrat in them primaries and beat him, and then run against the Republican. That's how y'all need to do it. That's how you're gonna be successful. You tell me one Republican outside of Ronald Reagan. You tell me one Republican where their economy was better than the Democrats. Since Ronald Reagan, since 1988, you give me one Republican since 1988 whose economy was better than the Democrats. One Republican. And I'm talking about we going off of jobs created and we going off of GDPs. Because President Trump in his first term, he might have had a GDP of over 3% if it weren't for COVID, but COVID happened. You can't excuse COVID. That's why President Biden, some of his inflation, he could have controlled it better, but because of COVID. So listen, President Trump in his first term, WTF Brad, y'all go look up what his GDP was in his first 4 years. And tell me what President Obama's was in either one of his terms or his 8 years. Tell me what Joe Biden's was in his 4 years. Tell me what Joe Biden's job growth was in his 4 years. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all not listening to me. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. If you guys have not liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for Ghostwriter. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Oklahoma is very red and it's ranked 50th in education. Not only in education, look at their economy. It ain't just education, it's their economy. All y'all red states, y'all lose. And listen, Gavin Newsom put me on the game. When we talk about dangerous cities, we always talk about big cities. New York is safe as I don't know what. You look at the rest of the cities in America, Queens is bigger than Queens, the third largest city in third largest city in America, and it's not a city. Brooklyn is the third largest city in America. It's not a city. Bronx is. So you understand how large New York is. New York is safe for a big city. If you look at the states, Mississippi, all the red states, they murder rate is higher than all the blue states, and they're more impoverished. That's facts. If you look at the top 10 states with the highest poverty rate, they're all red. They're all red. All the red states got the highest poverty rate. They got the lowest education rate. They got the highest obesity rates. They got it doesn't work. Your government structure does not work. That's period. You could talk about the blue cities all you want to. All you want to, it don't matter. Look, when you compare them to the red states, compare it state by state. Why are you comparing it city by city? Compare it state by state. Don't compare the city. You compare, listen, your little bitty, you got 500,000 people in your city, and look how dangerous Memphis and New Orleans is. Mobile, Alabama. Some of y'all ain't even heard these cities. 500,000 people, they so dangerous. You talking about 10 million people up here. It's like comparing 50 people in a room compared to 1,000. It's easy to control 50 people. It's a lot harder to control 1,000 people than 50 people. That's the reason why your crime rate's so high. That's why it's trash on the streets. That's why. Because they got way more people than you do. You got to understand that there's 3 times more people in this city than the entire state of Mississippi. 3 times more in this city. So we got to do everything per capita, per person, per head. How many murders y'all got in Mississippi per head compared to New York? I'm going to let you find out for yourself. I already know. As soon, all I need is the train of thought, and I'm going to get the numbers. I'm going to get the train of thought and get the numbers. What? How many murders per capita in Alabama compared to California? Per capita, per head, per person, per body, per soul. You trying to compare a city with 10 million people who got 3 times the people in New York. You got to understand what I'm saying. You look, how many people per 1,000 are experience violent crimes? You gonna have more murders in New York. You got more people, you idiot. You gonna have more murders in LA. It's more people, you idiot. LA 5, 6, 9 times the size of New Orleans and Memphis. Per head, how many murders? Per head. The dangerous city, I'm from the South, I know it. You'll get your head split to the white meat. The South is not that big. They go and run you down. You can't hide. You're gonna hold you accountable in the South. I'm from the South. And so white boys. I said that before Nolan Wells. Y'all heard me say that plenty times. I know white boys will knock you clean out and not scared of you. You talking about the wild, wild west. It's the wild, wild south. So if you look at it state by state, the blue states rank the blue state, the Florida and Texas, top 10 economies. You got 2 or 3 red states. Utah economy probably all right. Who else? I'm trying to think of the red states that you can't call Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania ain't red states. They blue states. You got Atlanta and Georgia, so I imagine Georgia wouldn't be in the bottom 10 of the economies in America, right? Who else? I know Texas, Florida probably top 10. I know Texas number 2, California number 1, New York probably number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody, y'all tell me the top 10 state economies since y'all brought it up. I ain't looked it up, so I ain't gonna quote it. I just quote what I know. Top 10 state economies in America. It's all blue besides a couple. Bottom 10 economies in America. It's all red besides a couple. Per head, per person. More dangerous, less healthy, less educated, less money. More dangerous, you have less cops, less money for cops, you collect less taxes. More dangerous, less money, less educated, less resources. If you homeless in Mississippi, you lucky if you gonna get a bed. You probably gonna be sleeping outside. Facts. They don't have the money. They don't have the resources. They don't have. All facts. If you hadn't liked the video, y'all double tap the screen for me. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hit that notification bell. 1 hour and 35 minutes. We trying to get those channel memberships. Who gonna support the channel? Anybody want to donate to the channel, become a channel member, hit that button with the $sign in it, and your donations are much appreciated. Iowa has high crime rates at the highest cancer rates in the country. I cannot affirm that, but I know that's facts. Red state ranked top in crime. That's facts too. Red states run at the bottom of everything. Facts. Arkansas, Kentucky, and West Virginia. It's because all the cities in the South are run and have been by decades by Democratic mayors. You could say the cities are run by Democratic mayors. I'm talking states. Let's talk states. Who voting for a mayor running for president? Not too many. Let's talk states. Your senators and your governors. That's usually who running for president. Let's talk states, state level. You want to win an argument on the city, let's talk state. I just explained that. The city's got a whole lot of people in them. Let's talk about the whole state, that state government. Behind, but are most ran by Republican governors, and mayors don't make laws. The governors do. Facts. Mayors, the cities make ordinances depending on where you call what they're called. You know what I'm saying? They have assemblymen or city councilmen, like I said, depending on the city, the makeup of that city government. So every level of government mirrors the federal level. You have an executive, the mayor is the executive of the city. They have like a council or assemblyman. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be like your Congress or people who are, it's like a democracy or representative republic on every level. It's representative. It's representative on the local levels too, just like it is on the federal level. And there's a hierarchy, even in the county. You know what I'm saying? You got county commissioners, you got county, it depends on the state government, how they run their organization. You know what I'm saying? It's a corporation. That municipality is a corporation, just like any business. That's how it's looked at in New York, at least. That municipality is a corporation. And I like how New York does that because that's facts. Down in the South, they try to separate them like the governmental entities when it comes to the law. But in New York, they look at that police department in that city like it's any business. If that police department in that city injure you, they could get sued. Yeah, we talking about that legal stuff now. I got a $500,000 lawsuit on the way. It's coming. You gotta be patient. You can't rush this. This is the biggest case I ever wrote in my life. The most at stake. I got $17,000 on my credit and a car that I do not have in my possession. $17,000 and a car that's not in my possession. I got a medical bill that I was charged over $100,000. My insurance company paid over $5,000 up to $6,000 for it. Hospitalized. $250,000. And I'm telling you, I'm gonna fight this lawsuit to the death. If I'm not able to hold that city responsible, that officer getting sued. in almost every one of these cases. This first case I got right now, I'm going to sue them 4 officers individually if I have to. In Connecticut, I'm going to sue a female who called the police on lied on me if I have to. And in this other case I have in New York, I'm saying I'm going to sue if I have to. I'm going to file 3 or 4 lawsuits on every one of these cases right here in New England. I could promise you it's going to be right here in New England and New York City. I give you my word. And people who know me know all 10. You cannot run me away from a $250,000 case. It's not going to happen. You not running me away from a $250,000 opportunity. I almost killed everybody you sent at me for a $250,000 opportunity. And I'm not finna kill nobody. I'm just telling you, I'm gonna stand all 10. Everybody you send at me. Y'all saw these young ladies come up here in this park. I wish I could have showed them to you. They were white females of the ultimate beauty. I don't discriminate on no color, no girls. Them white, they not, yeah, white females. These women, they young women, and they of the ultimate gorgeousness. You feel me? I'm not up here for that. I don't care how many gorgeous women in Manhattan. I didn't come here for that. I'm here for that $250,000. Not here for, see, they try to get me to lose focus and you just want to, you know what I'm saying? Or I might lose focus on my own and you looking at all this other stuff going around in this big, beautiful city, this magnificent city, New York City. But I'm saying I'm focused on a $250,000. Guys, I am so grateful to the leaders of this city, former leaders, this community, for providing me the opportunity to stay. I've been staying in this city for 2 months. That's why I came up here. I've been in the state. Come September, it'll be a year since I touched the state, bro. That's like some days away. A year, solid, here in New York. I done put my flag here. If I gotta leave the spot I'm in Manhattan, I promise you, we doing this in New York. I got a $250,000 case coming. I know a lot of people come to this live stream. They done seen the content on Instagram. Y'all make sure y'all follow my Instagram if you guys have not. Yeah, we talking about it this morning, y'all. Talking about it. If you guys have not, you know what I'm saying, guys? 11 a.m. up in New York City, I think it's going to start raining. You know what I'm saying? So if y'all up here in New York, I just gave y'all a little weather advisory, little weather report. You know what I'm saying? If y'all up here in the city, I don't know about the rest of the city. I know in Manhattan, that's what I just did. I looked and said it's going to start raining at 11 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Brad saying to each their own, can we carry they are both or partially responsible? He says Lexington, Kentucky has more millionaires than the largest thoroughbred. Yeah, you said more millionaires. I don't know. Lexington, Kentucky ain't got 123 billionaires. New York City got more billionaires. Listen, if you only got 800 billionaires in America and 100 and some of them in New York.
There's got to be at least one.
Lexington, Kentucky, though, I ain't saying they got a bunch, you know what I'm saying, going on, but I'm just saying Lexington ain't got nothing on them blue states. Y'all want to compare cities, I'm talking about states. If you look at states, in the states, I don't see, we can't compare. Y'all still trying to compare the cities, man. Them states, bro, I'm trying to tell you. I've been to Kentucky, bro. As soon as you ride, you could ride through the state and see the poverty. If you got intelligence like me, you could ride through the state and see the poverty. I might not even want to get an apartment in Kentucky or wherever I'm at. I'll look and see. I'm seeing how much they charge. I see what Southern Illinois is. But then you got Chicago in this. I care more people in Chicago than the whole rest of the state. You see what I'm saying? You ain't gonna know this unless you visit these places and you see these things for yourself. You feel me? The mayors operate the police forces of their cities. Like, yeah, I'm saying, like I told y'all, this crowd. When you think of a city, think of crowd control. You got the woman got one kid or two kids. She got two children versus the woman got 11 children. Memphis and New Orleans got two children, and Chicago and LA got 11 children. Well, Chicago got 7 children, and LA got 11. Or Chicago got 8. See what I'm saying? It's harder to control that many people. It's way more people in the cities. The crime is going to be higher. That's common sense stuff. So you trying to compare a city that's ran by a Democrat to a state, your whole state government on the state level. Forget the cities. The governor could come fix a problem in the city if it was that bad. He got the power to do that. That's that governor's responsibility. That governor is responsible for the politics in his state. Governor Shapiro is responsible for the politics, not the politics on the ground in Philadelphia, but what I'm trying to say is the things that happen, that's his state. He the governor, he's the executive, he is ranked way higher than the mayor. If you get a problem big enough in Los Angeles, what Gavin Newsom gonna do? He gonna be sitting on the stool, on the bench, on the sidelines? No, he's supposed to fix that problem. I'm saying if you got a problem in LA, I'm saying, yeah, I'm gonna go to Mayor Bass, but I'm gonna end that with Governor. That's what President Trump gonna do. Oh, look at California, how messed up Los Angeles is, Governor Newsom. He got them fires in LA, what he did? He blamed it on Governor Newsom. And Governor Newsom up there, God be getting sporadic because he know that the people gonna look at that like that's his problem. Y'all want to compare the cities, let's compare the states. That's what I'm saying. Republicans, they always got a sleight of hand. They be trying to pull a magic trick on people. Democrats do too. It seems like Democrats are more open with what they doing though. Republicans, they hide behind God and family. Democrats, they just come out with it. Hey, we support, transgenders. Hey, yo, Democrat, he just gonna come out with it. Hey, we support, Yeah, they want to brag, they want to blame it on the Democratic mayor. It ain't no Democratic mayor that's the problem. It's that Republican governor. New Orleans a problem, but they got a Republican governor. Memphis a problem, but they got a Republican governor. St. Louis a problem, but what's their governor? Yeah, them blue cities, they problems too. Per capita, per head. Look at per head. Look per head. Look at the murders, Memphis versus New York per head. It ain't even close. New York per head, I think the last time I checked was ranked in the 40th or the 50th in most dangerous cities in America. They ain't even in the top 25 per head. The last time I checked, somebody look for me. Most dangerous cities in America per capita. I don't think New York was in the top 25. I don't think they were in the top 40. If you got 3 million people in your city versus 500,000, shoot, it's more murders happening in Chicago and probably more murders happening in St. Louis than the whole city of New York. More murders happening in Houston and Dallas especially than the whole city of New York. And I'm saying New York City alone within its city limits is bigger than Dallas, Fort Worth, whole metropolitan area by millions. If you put New York City metro, you're going to be in New Jersey and Connecticut too. If you talking about New York City metro, you're going to be up in Peekskill. If you talking about New York City metro, you're going to be out there where P. Diddy live in the Hamptons on Long Island. You see what I'm saying? If you talking about New York metro, you talking about 20, 25 million people. I ain't gonna do you like that. I'm gonna say in the city limits of New York, 10 million people. you gonna have less murders than you will in Dallas Fort Worth Metro, of 7 million, eight pushing 8 million. The whole metro area of Dallas, and you gonna have more murders than you do in New York City, and you got less people than you do in New York. I'm trying to tell you what I know. I lived in the South and I lived up here. For instance, let me use Danbury, Connecticut. This is a city of about 120,000 people. They got 500 sworn police officers. 120,000 people with 500 sworn. Go to the South and find a city with 120,000 people. They might have 100 cops. Might have 100 cops. And they have 120,000. Every situation, you could call the cops because your fingernail broke, and you gonna have 5 to 11 cops out there in any situation. That's how it is up here. And these people believe in calling the police on you. They'll call the police on you. You heard of that Karen? That barbecue Karen calling the police on black people? That she live up here. I'm telling you, they'll call the police on you in a heartbeat. Maybe not in the city. In the city, you see all kind of crazy stuff. The police dealing with so much. It's just different. But I'm talking about, if you're talking about in these small little communities in Connecticut and Jersey and New York Metro, boy, them people call the police on you so quick that it's a lot safer than it is in the South. They have murders up here too. It's just not as much as it is in the South, and that's facts. Pound for pound. The cities that's not in the South are bigger. What's the biggest city in the South? Atlanta? You trying to tell Atlanta, well, 2 million. I'm trying to think. Dallas, nah. Houston, 2 million. Austin, 1 million. Austin ain't dangerous at all. I'm saying you compare your largest cities in the South, they're gonna be way more dangerous. Chicago per capita people they have are not top 10. I didn't see Chicago top 10 dangerous cities in the amount of people they have. If you look at the amount of murders, that's different. It's the number you looking at. But that's not fair because they got more people than you. So if you look at the amount of murders, of course there's going to be more murders in Chicago than Memphis, because Chicago jumping number one, and there's more people in Chicago than Memphis by far. Times 4 or 5. Jackson, Mississippi, boy, dangerous as I don't know what. They jumping off the porch. Yeah, that's facts too, y'all. That's facts. Sitting on his white backside talking smack. That's too funny. His white backside. Went to Miami Beach and Key West. The beaches are terrible. Nah, I wouldn't say that. That's you crazy on that now. I ain't going there. Who is that? Nah, you crazy on that. I'm from the South. You crazy on that now. Shoot, Miami Beach, boy, you crazy. That be Miami, that's my spot, boy. I stopped going there because so many people caught on to it. But I'm saying I went to Miami, boy. You check my Instagram, I was in Miami, boy, when the last time the Steelers won the Super Bowl. Before that, we talking about early 2000s. That was my spot. I've been so many times. And I live far from Miami. Ain't no way. Them Florida Beach, I ain't never went to a Florida beach that wasn't beautiful in my life. Tennessee, one of the most beautiful states in the whole United States. North Carolina is one of the most beautiful states nature-wise in all of America. Y'all just don't know about it. I'm sorry. I go to the woods. When I went to Colorado, I went to the woods. When I went to New Mexico, I went to the woods. I'm from Mississippi, boy. I grew up in the woods, on the water. So when I went to New York, I've been in New York, I've been in the woods in New York. You gotta understand that. Every state I go to the woods. We went to Connecticut, y'all. Where we was at? That's what I'm saying. So I'm in these states. I'm seeing the nature. You talking about the natural. It ain't the politics of a state don't have nothing to do with what the natural state. It don't have nothing to do with it. The natural state of Tennessee. Tennessee is gorgeous, bro. I don't care what y'all say. The politics not so much. Texas is gorgeous. They politics is straight though with Governor Abbott. It's one of the few states, the only red state that I really say that I would live in is Texas for an amount of time. I go back to Mississippi and visit my mama. I know I'm not gonna stay there. It ain't gonna be no time soon though. I go back to Mississippi, I promise you it won't be no time soon. My opponents don't understand how big New York is. They don't understand how big the city of New York and the state. That's why I've been here. Bruh, listen. I stayed in Ithaca. Okay? Then I went to Connecticut, Danbury, right? When I came back to New York, I was in Peekskill. I was there for months, like 5 months, Cortland, Maine. I stayed in White Plains. I stayed in Queens. I stayed now in Manhattan. I'm talking about in a year, 5 different states. I hadn't even explored the whole state. I'm not gonna go back north. I might stay in the city, and then you got all of Long Island. So you changed my spot, I could stay in the city. I've been to Brooklyn one time, I hadn't even touched Staten Island. Hadn't even seen it with my eyes. And I've been all over this city. I'm talking about hours I crossed across the city. Rode hours on the train to Coney Island, all the way to the bottom. I'm talking about uptown. We talking about Washington Heights. We talking about, because you know, we way north of Harlem. We all the way uptown in Manhattan, all the way to the bottom of Long Island, the whole city. From the Bronx, from the corner. Bronx Zoo, Fordham Road, Yankee Stadium. All the way to Coney Island, all the way down to the bottom of Queens, Rockaway, the whole city. And I ain't even been to Staten Island. I ain't even really been in Brooklyn. I've been to the Bronx about 10 times and I ain't really been in the Bronx. The people say I've been in Manhattan now. When I was in Peekskill, 25 times I came to the city, and almost every single time I went to Manhattan first, either Harlem or Lower Manhattan or Midtown, at least once. Like when I'm in the Queens, y'all see me in Midtown. When I'm in wherever I'm at, I'm in Midtown. In White Plains, I was coming to Midtown. I'm gonna continue that. That flag in Manhattan, that's gonna continue. But I'm saying me living, like, it ain't no telling, like, the city, it's a big city. Big Long Island. You talking about, I got 4 cases, them 4 little cases, you got a long time. And I'm saying in the meantime, everywhere I go, you putting that facility, you putting them on hook to get sued. You hooking them to get sued, every facility. You hooking them to get sued. You see what I'm saying? You hooking them to get sued, every facility. The state of New York, I don't want that beef though. It ain't gonna be no beef with me in the state. I'm gonna have love for the state regardless. The state already paid me. State of New York already paid me, bruh. You could hate all the people hating, all the people flap trapping, running their mouth. The state of New York already paid me. That's why they got more money than every state in the South but Texas. That's why. God bless them. God gonna bless that. God ain't gonna bless the transgender. God ain't gonna bless but just because they support transgenders, or just because they support 2 gay people getting married, doesn't mean that God isn't gonna bless their efforts to feed the poor and the homeless. That's what's happening in New York. God has blessed you over the decades for attempting to take care of those people who cannot take care of themselves. they do it in New York more than they do it in the South. I believe that with my whole heart. God might bless you in the South for no transgenders and no, but you ain't feeding your people. That's what Jesus was doing. Jesus was feeding the people. Tell me where I'm wrong at. Show me how I don't know what I'm talking about. Ah, somebody said I'm a felon. I'm a pardon felon. President Trump a felon. He shouldn't be president. You talking about a felon? President Trump a felon? Why he president? He a convicted felon. I'm sorry, President T. President Trump a convicted felon. He president. You talking about on the stream about something I did? I could listen. They convicted me in 2005, 2006. And I'm saying that's been expunged. That you can't hold something on somebody's record federally over 20 years old. That's why I work. If you call me a convicted felon, I worked at Verizon. Convicted felon, I worked at Walmart. Not only, where Walmart at? I love y'all, baby. They know the Walmart. And that's I would never sue Walmart. Lord, it had to be a bad situation. And I would separate that Walmart from the rest of the Walmarts in America. Because I worked at so many. I worked at 11, 12, I done forgot. Over 10 Walmarts in America. Distribution centers, Walmart stores, Sam's Clubs. I was trying to work for the Walton family. I worked at all Walmarts. Convicted felon, yeah. Tesla, convicted felon, yeah. Verizon, bro. I work for almost every Fortune 5. Bro, what? Amazon one of the only main ones I didn't work for. I didn't get to you, Jeff Bezos. But all the rest of them, I worked for them. The Walton family, worked for Elon. I worked for all the slave masters. It's only 800 slave masters in America. I work for all of them. Nah, for real, I had a lot of jobs, bro, and I worked for a lot of big I'm talking about, listen, when I first, in my 20s, that's something we need to fix. I got convicted of that felony, and then when I got in my 30s, I went to college. Bro, I hadn't been in trouble with the law. Look, after that conviction of that felony, it was, I went to drug and alcohol, went back before the judge, did my probation, paid everything I was supposed to pay, all my dues to the government. After that conviction of that felony, I'm saying 10 years later, I was in college. I went to school. I got a degree in paralegal technology, a lifetime certificate as a paralegal, and after I got my associates of applied science, I'm saying I applied to go to the University of Mississippi, registered, and I was at USM, the university that summer, 2+2 program. Convicted felon, 10 years. I joined the New Orleans Paralegal Association. I was looking for a job as a paralegal in Mississippi. They only paying $11 an hour. I'm working at a restaurant called Shaggy's, making $200 to $400 per shift in Mississippi. $200 to $400 working 6 hours a day. And you want me with this degree to quit my job and go work for $11 an hour as a paralegal? I couldn't do it in Mississippi. So I went and applied in the city of New Orleans. In my mind, I'm going to drive to New Orleans or I'm going to live in Slidell. I'm looking at apartments in Slidell, real talk. And you know what happened? I'm in the New Orleans Paralegal Association. They give me a call for an interview in the city of New Orleans. A convicted felon. Cause see, I done got it wiped off my record and everything. They could see it down there, but it's wiped off the public record. So I'm sitting on, what is it, Pondreas? Isn't it Pondreas? That's the street where the city hall is in New Orleans. I ain't looked this up. I ain't know I'm gonna be talking about this. I didn't know the city. I've been in New Orleans a million. That's my city, boy. You feel me? I'm in Pandreas, bro. Like I'm sitting in the city hall. I'm on the 5th floor. The city attorneys walk in. Real talk, convicted felon. I got a degree though as a paralegal. I got an education, real good grades too, boy. That GPA in them legal class, real good grades. When the city attorneys walked in, they asked me, the first question she asked me, she said, what do you do? She said, when you come in the office, what's the first thing you gonna do every day? You know, I was trying to ask her the question. I was like, first thing you gonna do? I don't understand what the question. She said, yeah, the first thing you do every day when you come to work, every day. When you walk in the office, first thing you do every day. Bro, I never worked in the office in my entire life. I told her, you check the attorney's tickler system. Man, she asked me a bunch of questions I didn't know. I didn't have no experience as a paralegal. I never worked for an attorney. None of that. I still never worked for an attorney. 40 cases in federal court, one to appeal, U.S. Court of Appeal. I never worked for an attorney. Lawyers are required to. Leaving law school, I never did. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting up here and I did the interview. I left. Convicted felon interview. New Orleans City Attorney, City Hall. They didn't hire me though. $16 an hour. They went and hired a paralegal who didn't have a degree, but she had experience. So when the attorneys asked her the question when she came in, she know the answer. She didn't work for a law firm like Ghost. I ain't worked for a law firm, but I got the experience. I know how to do the work now. I didn't at that time. I never filed a case or anything. I'm just in school trying to get a job, paralegal, New Orleans, don't know nothing about, I know about the law, but I don't know nothing about the office, the business or nothing. They didn't hire me though. You say, well, Ghost, what's your point in that, bro? That I didn't work for that felony stuff. It don't mean nothing. You talking that ain't. I could run for president. You know, I ain't no politician. I never do nothing like that. But I could work any job I wanted to. You work for the Walton family. Who owned Verizon? What's his name? Y'all know his name. The cool dude. You work for him. You work for for Elon. Any of them big companies, them Fortune 500. What I can't do in America? Those, I told y'all ain't listening. Those people run the country. Elon and them, they running the country, not President Trump. You know President Trump, he one of them people though. Trump International. I go get a job for Trump International. Work for all of them. So I'm saying if I work for them, why I can't work for the American people? That's crazy. It ain't nothing I did in my lifetime that I ain't been forgiven for. That's not my past. I don't know what you talking about. Crazy. The best people who do what I do are going to be the people who went through what I went through. Michelle Obama gave birth to 2 children. If Michelle isn't a woman, bro, I wouldn't even argue with them, Dee Sarson. What's up, Dee? I hadn't seen you in a long time. Dee, I wouldn't even argue with them. You see what I'm saying? They always saying that crazy stuff. I wouldn't give credence to that. I'm saying I know how it must feel because the Republicans are so scared of Michelle Obama, so they going around saying she a man. Imagine if somebody was saying that to you about you. I love you, Candace. I love you, baby. I swear I love you. I watched your show last night, man. Even if I don't get the time, I'm gonna spin around to you, Candace, and I'm gonna see what you got going on. But I'm saying, like, maybe Macron, like his wife saying, because she just an ugly female. I'm talking about the French president's wife. I'm sorry, sir. But I'm just talking about what Candace saying. I'm saying she's a female, though. That woman ain't no man. I don't believe she a man. So I'm saying hearing them every single day go around saying that you a man, bro. It's like that's like some psych op stuff, some military psych op stuff, Candace. That's what that is. I know you not for that and you against that, talking about the death of Charlie Kirk and what Charlie Kirk and what you've been through. That's what Michelle Obama going through with y'all walking around saying she a man. Y'all trying to get in that woman's head. Y'all degrading a woman. I'm saying putting a woman down, disrespecting her. I've never seen a first lady as disrespected as Michelle Obama. If I was Michelle Obama, I would have more beef than President Trump do with y'all. I'll come through at y'all swinging if I was Michelle. And if she jump in the race, baby girl, I'm gonna be right. I argue them down. I throw blows for it. Or VP Harris or AOC. You can't. A woman who then dedicated her life to helping other people, helping people like me. AOC then dedicated her life to helping people like Ghost. Disabled, on Social Security, fixed income, can't work. Medicare, Medicaid, college fund, money for school. What y'all call that when you get that money? Grants, student loans. AOC then dedicated her life in helping people like that. Disabled veterans. That's what she do. What we talking about? Let's be real. Let's be all the way real. Bernie Sanders dedicated his life helping people like that. Obamacare. Everybody going to college for free. You see what I'm saying? I'm not in college right now because of President Trump's policies. If VP Harris would have won, I have a master's degree by now. I got 169 college credits. Depending on what university I got to, all I got is 1, 2, or 3 classes, 4, or 5, or 6 classes. That's what I'm saying. I can't go to school though because of his policies. I was in Texas A&M when he was coming through. He trying to slash all the funding for kids to go to school. You know how many students at Texas A&M are on they're on federal grants and funding? I looked it up. The vast majority of them at a school, George Bush University, the Bush Family University, Texas A&M, where all the a lot of kids in the state with money go, that majority of them getting student loans, students, something. And he cutting the funding for the kids. So somebody like Ghost trying to go back to school, it ain't no help. President Obama was telling me to go back to school. That was his thing. That's how I got my degree in paralegal technology. That's how I won an appeal in the U.S. Court of Appeals. President Trump, President Obama, y'all remember that? He was telling us to join the Peace Corps. He was telling that like John F. Kennedy or something. He was motivating us to get active. Because I was disabled during his time too. It wasn't like no sit down or like, but he had a solution for me. His solution wasn't go to work with your disability so you could fail. His solution was go to college, get more education, create businesses, and create wealth from that position you in. It worked. I went to school. I created, I don't know if you call it wealth, but a little bit of money. I was living in a gated community for over 5 years. I got the degree. From the degree, I went to a gated community over 5 years. I was driving that little white Acura. Nice little Acura. I love that little thing. In a gated community, making over $40,000. Y'all living in Mississippi. Yeah, it worked. Got the degree. It worked. Well, I got the degree. That's what I'm saying. Like now, I'm stacked. Like so. Listen, I appreciate that donation. The results from the degree is me going forward and me filing the cases. So I'm filing cases now and lawsuits. I'm filing cases. That's what I'm doing. I'm filing lawsuits. I'm filing cases. But what I'm saying, while I'm filing cases, while I got lawsuits, I'm telling y'all about a $250,000 case that I'm finna file, and I got cases open already, and more cases to file. While I'm doing that, I'm saying I could be in school, get money, getting education, stimulating my brain, getting smarter than I already am. That's what I want to do. I want to go learn President Trump. I want to go learn. We've been on this live stream for 2 hours and 13 minutes. I told y'all, come August, I'm not going to be on here with y'all this long. You know what I'm saying? Or I might be on longer, excuse me, come August, but it's only going to be 4 days a week. You know what I'm saying? And one of them days going to be legal live stream. So a lot of y'all political people, y'all not even going to stop in. So y'all really going to be seeing me 3 days a week. I got to get on a set schedule. During that extra time, that other time, I'm doing legal documents. I'm working on legal documents. I'm doing legal cases. But I'm saying I have a lot of extra time, D Norval. I have a lot of extra time. And with that extra time, what I'm saying, I could be going to school, learning something. I could be taking law classes. I could be taking more government classes right now. That's what I want to do next semester. I want to go to Syracuse, boy. You hear me? I want to go to Buffalo, boy. You hear me? Go to one of these universities in New York. I'll show y'all how smart this boy is. At this age, 46 years old, at the university, boy, I'm finna have a 5.0 GPA. I'm trying to make 100 on everything they give me. Every grade they give me, I want 100%. I want to go to school, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like if I pop out in your state, I'm going to pull a camera out and I'm going to go to the woods. That's my element. I'm going to go where there's large bodies of water. That's my element. Oh, man, D.D. Sarson, he says, don't stop learning and don't let Trump madness slow you down. Thank you for that donation, my brother. Listen, I promise on everything, it's not going to slow me down. His madness is not going to slow me down, and I'm not going to stop learning, man. I need VP Harris, man. I need AOC, man. You know what I'm saying? I would love it. I wouldn't mind having it. JD Vance, Gavin Newsom, man. I need my VP Harris, man. I need my baby, man, to be president. I'm telling you, I'm gonna show y'all how it's done. Listen, Elon's still gonna be doing good. Yo, Pastor and them, millionaires, they gonna still be doing good. That man I was telling you about, them boys working beside me in Robert, Louisiana at that distribution center at Walmart making all that money, they still doing good. But the difference is with VP Harris and her policies, Barack Obama and his policies, Bernie Sanders and his policies, they could help the people who don't have nothing. I said this the other day, the Republicans don't have a solution for somebody like me. Look, the only way a Republican know how to tell you how to get out of something is to work. Go work. Work. Y'all remember that? 80-year-old person ain't got no money. They'll tell you, go to work. Y'all know at them family reunions, y'all people from the South, they see a 2-year-old, oh, it's time to put that boy to work. They think everybody, that's their only solution to life problems you have financially is work. Democrats got more solutions than work. VP Harris, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to be solid. That student loans and them grants, I'm gonna get an extra $5,000-$6,000 a month that Social Security can't touch. So I'm saying my case is my business. I'm in school. This was my plan. I'm getting Social Security and I'm getting $5,000-$6,000 from my grants and my loans every 3 to 6 months. That's an extra $12,000 a year. I'm making $30,000 a year if I'm in school, getting my education and learning. I'm getting 30 racks a year. Solid. While I'm doing my cases with my business. And then on top of that, first time home buyer, $25,000 tax credit. Don't start that how you gonna pay for it stuff. Because you ain't never paid for your tax breaks. You either president, Republican or Democrat, gonna add money, trillions of dollars to the debt. We don't want to hear. We want to hear one of them gonna do something for us. And I'm saying this woman right here, I know she gonna do something for me. She's saying start a business. I'm gonna go start a second business and get that $50,000 tax breaks. I'm telling you, I came up with Barack Obama from 2008 to when he left in 2016. Go look at how I was living when he left in 2016. The last Biden, I'm saying During President Biden, I went from working to being disabled. But at the end of President Biden, when VP Harris left office in December, you could ask my dad. I ain't worked. VP Harris, when y'all got elected, 2000, they took over in 2001. I stopped work. I ain't worked since 2003. When she left office, Dee Sarson, in January of 2025, right? I had 9,000 plus in the bank, about 9,100 in the bank. I had about 1,000 and something in my pocket I kept at all times. I had a credit card with hundreds on it, wasn't even touching it. And I ain't worked since 2023. That's how it worked out for me with VP Harris. I had $77,000 in debt, student loan debt. VP Harris wiped clean. Finna go back to college. If VP Harris would have won that election, I've been balling. I'm telling you, it's their policies. When I tell people, a lot of people, they trying to like, oh, Ghost, you ain't got no personal relationship with the woman. It's not personal. It's not a personal relationship. You don't personally know her. She ain't gonna personally help you. That's not what I'm saying. Like they said that about Mendami. I come up here to New York, I got hundreds every month going in my pocket. Hundreds every month. Healthcare. It's what you believe. You think that y'all Republicans in Mississippi, you think they don't believe in working in New York? You want me to show you? Look at what they got built and established, and look at what y'all built and established. You don't think in New York they believe in working? You don't think Mayor Mandami believe in working? All you want to focus on or try to focus on is say he giving out free stuff to people. That's where you want your focus to be at. Oh, he's giving out free stuff to everybody. But you don't think he believe in work or workers? Yeah, he believe in workers. He just not gonna leave you laying on that concrete. He gonna come help you get you up. And God likes that. And God commanded them to do that. The Republicans forgot that part of the Bible. They only know the only scripture the Republicans know: if a man don't work, neither should he eat. They don't know nothing about helping the poor or none of that. The Democrats, they remember them scriptures and God blessing them accordingly. That's why all they states got the money in their pockets and your states don't. Because in New York, they got more workers in New York City. They probably got more workers in the city of Buffalo and Syracuse combined than they do the whole state of Mississippi. We ain't even got to bring New York City into this fight with Mississippi. They got way more workers in New York than you do in Mississippi. They believe in work too. Y'all ain't the only one believe in work because that's all you talk about. Up here, they believe in work too. They just believe in helping the poor as well. That's the difference. Guys, it's Saturday, y'all. We not streaming tomorrow now. Dee Sarson gave us the little donation, so we rocking with it. If you guys have not liked the video, double tap the screen. I want one of you guys to become members of the channel, man. Channel memberships, they start at $2.99. Hit that button with the $sign in it. Jeremy, that's right. MAGA people think they the only people who got jobs. These people in New York, this is a blue city. They more jobs in here than there is in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama, and probably Georgia combined. These people up here working. What you think they doing? They rent $12,000. They rent $3,000. They rent $6,000. They work. How you think they paying their rent? You think Mandami just paying everybody rent? They got 120 plus billionaires. Well, maybe some of them left. They got over 100 billionaires in the city. You got 2 billionaires in Mississippi, and they brothers. They got 100 billionaires in one city. I'm sure a lot of billionaires who probably got their money in New York, they might live in Connecticut or they might live in Jersey where they ain't got no taxes, or they live up in White Plains, or maybe down south in Maryland. It's possible. That's Metro New York. It's right outside. But I'm saying, like, I'm trying to tell you, these people up here working too. They work more than you do. They work more up here than they do in blue states. I guarantee you, in the red states, the blue states got more people employed than the red states. I put money on it. How can you say that? They don't have a problem in New York with jobs. Just like they might not in Texas, but they do in West Virginia. I promise you, Mississippi, they don't have the industries to produce the work. All the stuff up here is to produce the jobs. If a foreign nation go invest in America, if they gotta invest in the city, what city they gonna pick? The reason why y'all cities down south, they just putting them plants down in Louisiana, Alabama. They just putting the plants there. But I'm saying the investments in the city, come on, man. You act like they ain't up here working. They got more jobs. They do more work than y'all do. Look at their state. In California, how them buildings get built? They do more work up here in these states than y'all do in these blue states than y'all do in the red states. It's just they have other plans besides work. They know how to take care of disabled people. They know how to take care of homeless people. They know how to take care of people in this state, in these blue. Y'all don't in the South. Facts. What I said wrong? Somebody said blue cities generate 70% of the GDP. I don't know that to be fact, but it's something that I would believe, definitely. Somebody says no one is relying on a Trump supporter. Jeremy, I don't know if I'm not thinking I'm relying on a Trump supporter. I don't think like that. When I do my cases, this shouldn't be about politics. It's about the law. I don't never think about relying on the Trump supporter, y'all. I was gonna tell y'all, I meant to tell y'all that we Tax the Rich #9 didn't premiere. You know what I'm saying? If you guys hadn't seen it, make sure y'all go check out Tax the Rich #9. Brand new video under the video tab. You could do it right now. You could exit out this live stream. I'll wait for you to come back. Exit out this live stream. Click it on the video tab, and that first video, Tax the Rich #9. We talked about that in the first hour of the live stream today, the revised America tax plan. Jeremy, I know you talking about MAGAs though. Keep lying to yourself, give me free stuff. If that's what you believe, I'm lying to myself though. If you say so, my brother. Y'all, that's 2 hours and 25 minutes, man. 2.5. We expecting rain up here in New York in about an hour and a half, y'all, in the New York City. I got a lot going on, lot to do, $250,000 case I got to finish, wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? And by next month, we going to launch off. We going to get to it, man. You know what I'm saying? We going to get to it real soon, y'all. We got a few more episodes of the Tax the Rich tour to go, and all my focus is going to be on, you already know. Somebody said blue states generate 40 to 50% of the GDP. So somebody challenging your facts, man, in the live stream. I'll give y'all a few minutes to get that out, sort that out. I think the man said blue cities generate 70 to 80% of the GDP. Somebody said blue states generate half of the GDP. It's hard to believe that. I know how much money, man. You look at Connecticut per head, Connecticut, Massachusetts, their economy's always been great per head. I'm talking about per capita. The Connecticut, what some of them states, they GDP, bro, per capita. I'm talking about like per head, they making like 100,000. when the national average is like about 60 or 70. It's a bunch of blue city, them blue states, them small ones. It's a bunch of blue states, the rich ones in America, y'all. That's my time, y'all. We at 2.5 hours, man. I love y'all. Didi Sarson says, behind my wife, who is deceased, and nurse with a master's degree. She taught classes in the university level, and her father's a doctor. Of course, I've heard of that. Also heard of MIC. Didi Sarson, baby, I thank you for the donation. Everybody that donated today, gave the gifts, I thank you guys as well. Y'all, that's my time, man. Legal Wars Live is Big Ghostwriter, man. I appreciate y'all stopping in, checking in on the Tax the Rich Tour, episode number 87. We got what? How many more episodes left, y'all? We got just about 12 or so. Didi says, you have bigots who are afraid that Muslims will take over. Yep, that Trump propaganda is working. You might think it's working, Didi, but I don't think it's working. I'm saying, like, they trying though, Didi, but I mean, it's just like, who buying it? I don't think it's working, y'all. That's my time. Like I said, I'll see y'all first thing on Monday morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern. Didi, thank you for the donation. I love all of you guys. Y'all be safe. Have a great weekend, rest of your weekend.